Hello and most welcome to 1895 of the series. We will today continue where we left off in 1893. And we are at the chapter, the offer of authentication by withstanding the coming great tribulation in the revelation of John. Last lecture, we went into the details of how inside goes into the outside, and that the idea, the academic or neo-academic idea, is that you have a stance or a standing, an outlook, something we saw at page 172. A crucial means by which one can corroborate one's standing. So everyone has a standpoint in this detached approach to reality. We are far apart from reality, cut off from it, and only solely at a distance can we imagine what's out there. Nothing is in close contact, and this detached, detoned distance has even become a sort of gold standard for what is good thinking. It's a standoffish way of approaching everything. You are simply not there, not present. This could be compared to seeing some things at a very great distance. So you can only discern shapes. And I don't even know how many lectures ago we mentioned this, but at a very long distance, everything is a bit either or. It becomes unnaturally sharp, since all the fractal details of reality disappears. And it is this pretty acute distancing we're watching here. Close also to, of course, the private language idea. A language you can't feel because it doesn't have a criterion. It's not close to you. There are no means to tell differences. Everything becomes this smudged out either or. Either or could be said to be a substitute, a supplement for real understanding, clear thinking, if you like. And I think I mentioned that this is also a grasping of the left hemisphere, this strained, trying to understand. And we will continue on page 173. And we ended with an glorious alliteration, conquering Christ commands. And then we continue. 6, martyrdom corroborates standing to judge and to share in the first resurrection. 20:4-6. In Revelation 20, John envisions that after Satan has been bound for 1,000 years, 21-3, the beheaded martyrs will have a special place with Jesus in the first resurrection and the executing judgment. Then I saw thrones and those seated on them, and judgment was passed in favor of them. I also saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their testimony to Jesus and because of the word of God. They had not worshipped Otines o Nisan, the beast or its image, and had not received its mark on the foreheads of their hands. Their hands! They have come to life and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were ended. This is the first resurrection. Αυτή η Anastasis η πρώτη. Blessed and holy are those who share in the first resurrection. Resurrection. Over these, the second death has no power. Epi touton o defteros thanatos ok eshi exousian. But there will be priests of God and of Christ, and they will reign with him 1,000 years. The passage illustrates the realization of the promise of 2.26 to 28, that the one who conquers will exercise authority over the nations and rule them with an iron scepter. Scepter. Scepter.
Scepter. Scepter.
John once again sees souls. This time they have not just been slaughtered, spazo, but beheaded,
Ouch. Perikitsu. Perikus.
That is
Axe.
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 That is
Eli.
by Apocalypse. One problem of interpretation is that whereas 24 to 6a explicitly refers only to the martyrs, John does not specify the standing of other Christians who will not have died for their faith and yet presumably, like the martyrs, would not be harmed at the time of the second death. The question hinges in no small part on the identification of oitiness. Whether it designates a larger group of saints in addition to the beheaded martyrs, or, as seems more likely, the group of martyrs alone. Maybe John's zeal to authenticate the martyrs' stature has spawned this conundrum.
Conundrum.
It seems most likely that in this context he assumes the pessimism of 13:7 to 10. According to which the saints will be conquered with the imitation in 24 to 6 that all true followers of Jesus will have been killed prior to the first resurrection of all the saints. The saints. In any case, the prediction that the martyrs will take part in the first resurrection and in executing judgment further exemplifies John's great interest in attaching the value to their anticipated suffering. And considering their standing as contingent upon continued faithfulness, even unto death.
Death.
Death. Seven. Orthopraxis as a component of resistance and an indication of standing. At several points, this chapter has highlighted how, for John, orthopraxis is a primary requirement for salvation. Two, 9 to 10, 17, 23, 26 to 28, 3, 11, 7, 14. According to Revelation, one essential component of orthopraxis is enduring hardship. This theme in Revelation is further exhibited in several additional passages in the second half of the book that are examined briefly in this subsection. A prime example in Revelation is 14:4 to 5. It is these who have not defiled themselves with women. Imeta, ginaikon, och emolynithisan. For they are virgins. These follow the Lamb wherever he goes. They have been redeemed from humankind as first fruits for God and the Lamb.
Bäh.
Bah! The roar of the lion and the bah of the lamb. And in their mouth no lie was found. They are blameless.
Blameless.
Blameless. Rather than construing John as addressing sexual sin or asceticism, Gregory Beale argues persuasively that Revelation 14:4-5 offers a metaphor of all true saints who have not comprised in various ways with the world because they have remained loyal as a virgin bride to their betrothed. Betrothed.
Betrothed. Love.
Betrothed.
Love.
Regardless of whether one follows Beale on this point, it is clear that for John, chastity and truthfulness exemplify the purity required of all believers. Of all believers. Later in this passage, after three angels make appearance, 14:6-7, 8, 9-11, at 14:2, John interrupts his vision to define I ipomoni ton agion, entirely in terms of orthopraxis. Orthopraxis. Orthopraxis.
Praxis. Orthography.
This indicates that the perseverance of God's people involves keeping the commandments of God. and maintaining faithfulness to Jesus, till pisten Jesu. Where the one takes 14:12 as a call in the face of persecution to maintain faith in Jesus, objective genitive, or as seen equally plausible to imitating the faithfulness of Jesus, subjective genitive. One must recognize with roll off, the necessity of remaining faithful during the coming hour of tribulation.
Tribulation.
Oh yeah. Alles kommt darauf an, dass sie in der auf sie zukommende Stunde der Bewährung nicht schwach werden, sondern standhaft und treu bleiben. Treu bleiben. Treu bleiben. Was auch immer die Folgen sein werden. Jetzt gilt es, kompromisslos an den Geboten Gottes festzuhalten.
Geboten Gottes festzuhalten.
Ja. Again, in 1907, B-8, John characterizes the standing of the saints in terms of what they have done. Citing the witness of a great multitude, he offers that the saints, dikaeumata, confirm their special standing, which he once again signifies by clothing.
Clothing.
The marriage of the Lamb has come, and his bride has made herself ready. To her it has been granted to be clothed with fine linen, bright and pure. Visinon, lapron, kapharon. For the fine linen is the righteous deeds of the saints. Toga visinon ta dikaiomata ton agion esti. Holy beings. Holy. As noted just above for Revelation 14:12. At 19:8b, John again interrupts a vision in order to comment on it. It is no accident that this interpretation highlights orthopraxis. Orthopraxis, as W.J. Harrington suggests, the plural acts may indicate that the bride's garment is woven of innumerable acts of faithful obedience by those who endure to the end. The end. In Revelation, such obedience must include resistance to any evil, corrupting influences as defined by John. John. John offers an additional example of orthopraxis in his depiction of the final judgment, at which the sole criterion for judgment is a person's works. Erga. On. among several other commentators, suggests that this judgment according to works is not only of unbelievers, but also of Christians. To some other Christians who valued more so than the prophet John did. The relative importance of faith, whether faith was construed within appalling, death-row appalling, Johannine, or some other framework. The expectation of a future judgment based on the works in Revelation 20 to 11:15 would be surprising, if not objectionable.
Objectionable.
Yet, as Prigent observes, Revelation's recurring argument of future salvation contingent upon future works is inescapable. Inescapable.
Inescapable. Inescapable. Inescapable.
In Revelation 3:5, mention was already made of seeing certain names erased from the book of life.
Erased or no.
Unworthy conduct is not incompatible with having one's name in the book. Inversely, in 21:27, it is understood that the conduct of those who are recorded in the book will be pure and holy.
Pure and holy. Holy. Holy.
Again, in Revelation 20:10 to 12, John makes distinctions among humanity on the basis of orthopraxis. The evil person and just person are distinguished solely by what they do. And he, the angel, compare 22 to 8, said to me, "Do not seal up the words of the prophecy of this book, for the time is near.
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 Like near.
Let the evildoer, or adikon, still do evil, and the filthy still be filthy, and the righteous, or dikaios, still do right, and the holy still be holy. See, I'm coming soon. My reward is with me to repay according to everyone's work. Apoduna ekasto osto ergon estin afto.
Estin aftu. Estin aftu.
I think estin afto is a good point to make a little stop. Pause. Beautiful work.
Two. Page 177 PDF 35. So page 177 lähtevög aftu. Estin aftu.
177, let's see here. Let's look for some clues. Page 174. The second paragraph just before the chapter, the subchapter of awful praxis. I got an idea here. Construing their standing, the very last of that sentence, as contingent upon continued faithfulness even unto death. I think that would not even be understandable from a linear thinking. This clearly is connected to the more encompassing fractal time of the right hemisphere, where you can sacrifice life for having life, and even more life, and thereby faithfulness unto death is a reality. And that should be compared to what we mentioned in the previous lecture of standing outside, not being involved, detached. That automatically is linearity, and that is death also as a complete end. An end without return, so to speak, or not an enlarging end. Orthopraxis is enduring hardship. That hardship is aggregation of good deeds, acts. And we can call good deeds for iterations. For every time you do a good deed, you iterate. You make your goodness more real. You enforce it make it stronger. You don't have the meaning free, like in the standoffish way of a standpoint or not acting. If you go further to this is what pistis really is. Pistin is the faithfulness, is the work of doing. On page 176, in the second paragraph, as certain Harrington suggests, the plural acts may indicate that the bride's garment is woven of innumerable acts of faithful obedience by those who endure to the end. For every good act, there is an iteration, and you make a weave that gets stronger and stronger. Words are also acts. Good words enforces, iterates, makes stronger. Agape, love, compassion. All those things strengthen and strengthen for every time they are repeated. The next paragraph there, John offers an additional example of orthopraxis in his depiction of the final judgment, at which the sole criterion for judgment is a person's works. There you see, the work is pistis, the iteration. They build themselves, not one time only. There is no way of following a goodness rule one time. It is by repetition, that is iteration. It strengthens the orthopraxis. And this is criterion is mentioned here. And criterion there, this is no happenstance. I do see a synchronicity here. This is the criterion for a person's works. This is the acts. The perpetual doings, the repetitive daily acts. That's page 177. We also have it in the quote. Second paragraph, the last sentence in that small paragraph. The evil person and the just person are distinguished solely by what they do. Just, we have mentioned earlier, was brought up into the context by Kalle. It's the acts that we do. And see also words as acts, things that you actually do. They are not transcendental meanings like souci. They are participatory in this world. They do things. They are small acts, yes, but they are still acts. Do good acts. Say and think nice things. Then you will be rewarded by expanding your life beyond death. Kalle, please come in and join.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go to 33 in the PDF. It's 175 in the printout. Let us read this from 1412. This indicates.
Where are you now, Kalle? Which paragraph?
It's here. It begins a new paragraph here, second paragraph of page 175.
Oh, the second one. Okay.
Yes. And then you see the number 1412. At 1412, John interrupts his vision to define e ibomini ton agion entirely in terms of orthopraxis. This indicates that the perseverance of God's people involves keeping the commandments of God and maintaining faithfulness to Jesus, simplicity Jesu. Whether one takes 1412 as a call in the face of persecution to maintain faith in Jesus, objective genitive, or as seems equally plausible to imitate in the faithfulness of Jesus, subjective genitive.
Yes.
So I think reading this, I thought, there is still hope for Kelhoffer. Because he says, this is the key word, he actually recognizes that both subjective and objective genitive is possible. And we could read the footnote 119. So there is always some scholar who disagrees and only opts for one or the other. And this is, so in 3 cases in this paper, Kelhoffer allows for intentional ambiguity, so to say. One, the first one was with the word crown. You remember, crown could be that something that you won in a game, but also the heavenly crown. So it was an intentional ambiguity, according to Kelhoffer. Yes. The second occasion was with the word porneia. It's not only fornication, but also adultery. That is religious adultery. That is idolatry, so to say, in general. And this was the third time where some third example of intentional ambiguity, so to say. With
yes.
And in 2 cases that Kelhoffer did not agree, that was with thea, you remember at the beginning. It could mean.
Yes.
And actually,
I do remember,
thea, it could mean because of or for. He allowed only for one interpretation. And the word, the infamous word by now, martyr.
Yeah.
So, but
exactly. I think clearly, definitely.
So he doesn't have a logic for his. He makes up rules as he goes, so to say.
Yeah, and he's also putting Chomskyan words here. This is very Chomsky, objective genitive and subjective genitive. Would it be likely that the people who read the Bible in the Middle Ages were thinking of these Chomskyan terms?
Yes, but here I think you need to put it back because you find it in all grammar books. So here I give it to Kelhoffer. He must make it clear. So I think it's okay here. I
think
get your point, Hans, of
yeah,
course.
because grammar books wasn't used by the plebs, so to speak, or when you were reading Greek or spoke Greek. That's my point there, but yeah.
Of course, of
Okay.
course, of course. So completely right. And then I would like to. You mentioned this phrase by Harrington, the plural
Yeah, I like
acts.
that one.
Yes, it's very beautiful. Actually, the most beautiful in this whole paper so far. The plural acts may indicate that the bride's garment is woven of innumerable acts of faithful obedience, but those who endure to the end. I must admit that I don't know this Harrington, so I will look him up and see what are his publications.
But it was very beautifully said anyway. Very nice. I like
And then
it. Spoke to my heart.
And then yes, let me comment one last thing here is about the erga. So if
Erga, yes, erga.
so, Martin Luther had many objections against the Book of Revelation. I don't know if he also was perhaps he didn't mention that he didn't like the emphasis on works in this book.
No.
He would had probably had a heart attack if he had read this. He didn't like the word erga. That was anathema for Luther. Erga. Oi, no.
Very good.
So here, of course, it's for those who are not familiar with New Testament scholarship, it's difficult to understand all these references. But so in some books by Apostle Paul, some are considered fake. That is written by his followers. Those would be Deuteropauline, that is the second Paul, that is his followers. And in this, you would have another type of view of works. That is, you don't need them, supposedly. But let's end there if you don't want to add something, Hans.
No, it was great. I like this with work and how things are doing things. We do not stand apart and we do not look at language from a distance that Kelhoffer seemed to be doing innumerable times. We are in language, and I would say words are deeds. Words do things. They are acts, although very small acts. And the thing with the erga was great. Thank you for bringing that out. Yeah, it's a beautiful sentence. It's poetic in its simplicity. It's a fantastic ending to have this on the screen. Thank you very much, Kalle Lundahl, for your great comments, as always. And thank you, everyone, for listening in. Have a very nice afternoon, morning, or day, or wherever you are. Bye-bye for now.